Jesse Cole, thank you so much for being with us today. It is a pleasure, an honor, and we are thrilled to have your yellowness with us today.
Fired up to be with you guys.
And I love hearing the origin story. And I know the beginnings weren't all yellow and awesome and waiting list of ticket holders. Tell us a little bit about how you and Emily started out and what it was like when it was hard and what kept you going.
Yes, let's go back to the misery. I think that was great. Let's start there.
Relive it. Yeah.
It's the true story. So, and people don't really care about your successes unless they know about your struggles and your setbacks. And the reality is we've had numerous struggles and setbacks. So yeah, I mean, for me, the origin story was I was a baseball guy, loved baseball my whole life. My parents got divorced when I was a kid. So I was an only child. My dad raised me. And one we had was baseball, and grew up outside of Boston. So big Red Sox fans, and always had the dream of playing for the Red Sox. And fortunately, started hearing from professional scouts in high school, got a college scholarship. That dream was going to happen. And then I tore everything in my shoulder. And just like that, my dream of playing baseball was over. And I didn't know what I was going to do. So I said, well, what if I coached? And I went to coach. And I remember sitting in a dugout coaching in the Cape Cod League. And I was sitting there with the best players in the country, the best seat in the house, and I was bored out of my mind. I loved playing the game, but I realized watching the game was really boring. I said, well, what if we could change it? What if we could make it fun for everyone else? And so I took a job as a GM at 23 years old in Gastonia, North Carolina, and it was one of the worst teams you could ever imagine. I think that's why I got a job. No one gets a job as a GM at 23, but I did because no one wanted the job. And there was only $268 in the bank account. There was 200 fans coming to the games, and a team had lost $150,000 the previous year. So I couldn't pay myself for about 3-4 months at all because I had to figure out how to make it successful. So long story short, I read every book on P.T. Barnum. Walt Disney started hosting grandma beauty pageants, burying diamond rings in the infield dirt, hosting things that didn't work like Flatulence Fun Night, Salute to Underwear Night, Toilet Paper Madness, Pregnant Night, you name it, we tried it. But people started to say, hey, these guys are fun. And so we started to build fans. And Emily, I met Emily, and she became our director of fun and wore a hot dog suit and was the most confident girl I've ever seen in a hot dog suit. And we fell in love. And at the last game of the 2014 season, in front of a sold out crowd in Gastonia, I proposed to her in this yellow tuxedo. She said yes in the middle of the game, had a fireworks show, which delayed the game for like 20 or 30 minutes. The umpire's like, when are we going to play? I'm like, this is our moment. It was our moment. That night, when I went to sleep, Emily planned a surprise trip to Savannah, Georgia, and we went to Savannah. Of course, we had to check out the baseball team, went to this park. The minor league team was playing. No one was at the game. 200 people, dead environment, tumbleweed going through the grandstand. And I said, this stadium is beautiful. This ballpark, this city is magical. We love the city. And we said, if this team ever leaves, we're coming. Team left, couldn't get any support, building a new stadium. We convinced the city of Savannah to let us come. We showed up. Myself, Emily, our 24-year-old team president, 3 22-year-olds straight out of college. What a crew we had. And the former team cut the phone lines, cut the internet lines. They took all the equipment out of the stadium. And we got a picnic table from outside the park, brought it into the storage building, started calling everyone saying, we're here. And we sold 2 tickets in our first 3 months. So by January of 2016, we got the phone call at 4:45 on a Friday that we'd overdrafted our account and we were completely out of money and we were going to miss payroll. And it was then that Emily turned to me and said, Jesse, we have no other options. We have to sell our house. Sold our house, emptied out our savings account, put the little dollars we had into the team, found a dump, got an airbed, a twin airbed, which I wish Emily could at least got a king, a twin, brutal. And we said, we have to change what we're doing. We can't just, try to be the new kids in town. We got to really do things differently. So we named the team after a fruit, became the Savannah Bananas. Came up with the idea of a senior citizen dance team called the Banana Nanas. Came up with the idea of having a baby in a banana costume. They lift up in the air and sing, nah, Savannah. The idea of a male cheerleading team called the Mananas. Music videos to Can't Stop the Peeling. The mascot named Split. Banana bands, breakdancing coaches, and we just started trying everything. And lo and behold, fans started really coming out and responding. And now fast forward, we're blown away on what's happened.
So was the tipping point for you rock bottom, or did you kind of know you needed to do something different, but maybe you were a little bit afraid going into the new market? Or what was the thing that got you to say, we need to change? Or was it just we've tried everything, it doesn't work, we got to go in a completely different direction?
Yeah, we were doing most of the stuff in Gastonia. I mean, we had players doing dances, we had crazy characters, we had a lot of fun. But when we came to Savannah, a much bigger city, a media market, 3 TV stations, and Emily was 28, I was 31 at the time, and everyone else on our staff was 22 or 24. We were the new kids in town. And so I wasn't wearing the yellow tuxedo when I came first into Savannah. We were marketing like everyone else. Meaning the newspaper came to us. Well, this is what the former team did. The radios, this is what the former team did. And we were afraid to get out of our shell because, we were such young kids in this new market. And so that was what failed for us. And yes, once we got down to our last dollar, we said, we can't be like everyone else. That's not who we are. And either people are going to love it or they're going to hate it. And at first they hated it. They really hated it. I mean, people hated the name more than anything. And, I realized if you're not getting criticized, you're playing it too safe. And Walt Disney was criticized every step of the way. I mean, even his dad said, you should never be an animator. You're going to fail as an animator. You shouldn't do this. Then his brother and his wife said, don't go into the theme park business. You're going to fail. Those are gross. They're dirty. They won't be successful. Disney's Folly was what they called Snow White. And creating that, like, no one should create a full-length animated film. There was no such thing. And so he was criticized every step of the way, but he had this belief. And so I realized that we keep getting criticized. I mean, we went all into banana ball now. We left our traditional baseball league. I mean, we're getting criticized more now than we did before. We're getting criticized for things that aren't even our fault. I mean, every ticket's sold out. So people are selling tickets for $500 to $800. So people are ripping us apart for gouging the market. Like, we're not responsible for the secondary markets. So we're constantly getting criticized, but I know it's because we're doing things that maybe haven't been done before.
We are all about fighting adultitis. You are one of the most premier adultitis fighters out there today. And I think you've helped uncover some of the adultitis that is in baseball. What are some of the things that you identified that needed to be changed and that you've done?
Well, I think often it sounds selfish, but create something that you love, create something that you would like. And so I started realizing that baseball was too long, too slow, too boring for me. I started realizing that, you know what I hate? So like, if you want to find the best way to innovate, just think of, you know what I hate about the DMV? Like, you know what I hate about, flying? You know what I hate about getting a taxi cab? You know what I hate about the hotel? Whatever that is. And then do the opposite. So I was like, I hate how games are so long, so slow, so boring. All right. I hate how you get nickel and dimed. You buy a ticket for $20 and then it's $36.50 because you pay $8.50 for ticket fee and $8 for a convenience fee, which is the most inconvenient fee in the world. And then you pay for your parking, and then you buy an $8 burger, and then you buy a $6 soda, and then all of a sudden at the end of the night you're like, where did all my money go? So I was like, I don't like that. I go, what if we made it all inclusive? So we said, what if there's no ticket fees, there's no convenient fees, we pay your taxes, and all your tickets include all your burgers, hot dogs, chicken sandwiches, soda, water, popcorn, dessert. Why not? And so we did it. It started at $15 when we first did it. And we didn't know, but we're like, that's just a better experience. I was like, you know what else I don't like? I don't like being sold to, marketed to, or advertised to. I hate when I go to a sporting event arena. It's like, this ad or this promotion sponsored by this presented by this. All right, here's some flyers for this. I go, I don't like ads. So we got rid of all of our ads at our stadium. This was 2 weeks before the pandemic. So literally 2 weeks on February 25th, 2020, we said, let's throw away hundreds of thousands of dollars. We think that's a good business move. And we did. We threw away hundreds of thousands of dollars because we believe that we didn't want to be advertised to. We don't want to be sold to. So we did it. And now, fast forward this year, sales will be 25 times what we did in advertising and sponsorship. When you do something that you love, that you create fans of, then people will find ways to want to embrace that and buy into that. And so, we just kept creating things. And then banana ball is almost the epitome, a 2-hour time game. Batters can't step out of the batter's box. You can't, there's no bunting. We say bunting sucks. And if you bunt, you're thrown out of the game. You could steal first. And if fans catch a foul ball, it's an out. And so we built a game that we thought would be fun to watch. And that's what we do every single day. And so I think if you do things that you enjoy and that most importantly gives you energy, it's amazing the energy and what you can give to the world.
I love that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. One of the things you've written is to challenge the way things have been done in the past, have the courage to do things others won't do, and break the rules in your industry. So I am a professional speaker. I talk to a lot of different industries. Our tribe is made up of people from all kinds of different places. And sometimes the rules that don't exist are so ingrained in the way things have always been done, they're almost invisible. Do you have any other techniques for someone in an industry where it's like, how do I even know what the rules are to even begin to break them? You know what I'm saying? Like,
it's a good question. I never had it posed that way, and I don't spend a lot of time thinking about how can we break the rules. I spend more time thinking about what our North Star is how to make baseball fun. And so literally, if you know what your North Star is, our North Star, we exist to make baseball fun. How we do that is fans first, entertain always. So we have meetings on not how to drive sales, revenue, and profit, on how to create fans. And so if you look at how to create fans, the starting point I said is it's not just what you hate, but what are those little friction points? So every little friction point, like, so example, I fly a lot because I'm fortunate to speak a lot as well. And with our team doing our world tour, we flying every week. And I don't want to mention my airline or any names, so we'll just call them Shamerica Airlines, American Airlines. And they're my airline, and I fly with them because they're out of Charlotte, where I spend a lot of my time. My family's here, so they're the hubs there. So I'm flying out, but every single flight I get on, they're trying to sell me a credit card. I've already got their credit card, but they're trying to sell a credit card. 50,000 miles, 80,000 miles, 100,000 miles, get you a free flight to Hawaii, 2-3 flights. Don't even spend any money, like waive the fee, and it continue to do that. And I'm giving that example because things that no one says there's a rule about that. But if it's a little thing that gives just a little bit of frustration, a little bit of friction, that's something to think about, because the reality is most people, what they do is they just kind of glance over it and they don't pay attention to it. And those little things add up. And what happens is you punish and penalize your customers because of one person. So no shoes, no shirt, no service. So all of a sudden you got signs all over, no shoes, no shirt, no service. Does the convenience store really need to post that all the time? Do we really need to sell the credit card every single flight? But yeah, because they sell one or two, which I asked the stores, they sell, we might do one a flight, but because up at top, they're saying, hey, one a flight, the amount of flights we're doing, we're making millions of dollars on this. Let's keep doing it. That's not necessarily creating fans. It's creating friction.
Interesting.
But look for the friction. Be a friction fighter is what I always say.
Friction fighter, like that.
It is not hard for people to notice friction, because I think in our world that we're so busy and so annoyed by everything, right? Because it's just like, the adultitis is rampant. It's easy to pay attention to that.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's a good tip.
How do you define adultitis?
Adultitis is when you lose your childlike spirit. You get burned out, stressed out, but you lose that joy, you lose optimism, you lose that childlike whimsy and wonder and willingness to just have fun. So
the very easy definition is the swelling of the adult.
Yes, you get too much adult, then you're going to have trouble.
Up.
Yeah.
So that looks different for different people.
So the best example is Walt Disney.
Yep.
I mean, he literally built a train in his backyard, and that inspired him to put the train. It is that he was childlike wonder more than anything.
Well, you are definitely walking in his footsteps, so I applaud you for that. I know you're a big fan of him and P.T. Barnum. You've got some Willy Wonka in you, so I appreciate that. What would you say? Like some people, okay, so the adultitis-ridden cynics would say, oh, well, anyone can have fun if it's a game, if it's baseball. Like, what about if I'm an emergency room nurse? Or what if I am an insurance agent? Or what if I work for the IRS? Like, what?
Which that's the kind of people he speaks to, right?
Well, but like we struggle with that because people think fun is fluff sometimes. It's like they want to be like, how do I get sales? How do we do this? And I know you've talked about that's how you get sales. That's how you grow revenue is fun. But what would you say to the people who are like, well, I'm not in a fun industry?
Yeah. Well, it's that a lot of people say I'm not creative. I don't, I know you come up with 10 ideas a day. I can't do that. I'm like, it's just a muscle. And fun is a muscle as well. And often we stop playing it. We stop working that muscle or stop working out. I have 2 4-year-olds and a 1-year-old, and every day they're working their fun muscle most of the day. Even when they're eating dinner, they're trying to work the fun muscle with whatever they can to have fun. And then all of a sudden they're told no. At school, they're told structure, and they're told no. And that fun muscle keeps getting worked less and less and less and less. And you know this. And it's interesting when you mentioned some of those professions, and I battle this all the time because everyone, you're in a yellow tuxedo. You run a sports team. It's easy for you to do all this. Well, I look at a quote from P.T. Barnum. He said, "The noblest art is that of making others happy." And I think of that quote, and then I also think about something that we believe in very much so, and it's entertain always. And people say, "I'm not in the entertainment business." And I said, "Really? Let's look up the word entertain. What does it mean?" To provide enjoyment and to provide amusement. Now, I would say everyone's in the business of providing enjoyment, whatever you do. If you're in the emergency room, you better believe after you hopefully save someone, you better provide them some enjoyment afterwards. And you know what? The best cure for all of that is laughter, is joy. After going through something like that, if you can make someone smile, they say the best way to start every meeting is to get people laughing. If you want to have the most creativity, it's to get people laughing. So with whatever you're in, there's a level of fun and enjoyment, and it goes to playing. When I'm in the office, there's always balls around. And so I will get a ball, and whether there's a football, I'll just start throwing football in the office. And literally, I think about myself sometimes and my wife. It's like, no, don't play catch in the house. No, like, don't play catch in the house. And yet I'm literally doing that in the office with lamps and classes and things like that. But because of that level of play and fun and joy, it's unbelievable contagious. And so you have to be able, as a leader, to be able to demonstrate it. So I think for you and maybe the companies you speak with, it's reframing. Mm-hmm. People think of fun as this different level. It's like, no, fun is simply, are people laughing? Are they smiling? If you want to judge a culture by how much people are laughing in the office. If you don't come in the office and there's laughter, if you don't hear laughter, that's not a good culture. They've got this adultitis. They got some challenges. They got to get back into being a kid and having that wonder. So it didn't really answer your question, but I think it's just a reframing mindset. Yeah. And just like we look at entertain, everyone, whether you're a divorce attorney, I mean, they should have a huge celebration. Right at the end, boom, pop up, like, here we go. Like, let's, like, I mean, there's ways to even make things like that entertaining. Now you got to be careful because some people it's a tougher divorce, but some people are very excited about it. Right. So it's having a feel, but yeah, you know what I'm saying.
What would be the food, sound, or smell that most reminds you of childhood?
Ooh, I love that. 1000%. My dad's tour of Italy. So my dad, his mother, Italian, she always cooked. And I never got to meet them, but he took that with her. And so he would make lasagna and chicken parm and tortellinis, marinara sauce and garlic bread. And you would smell it in that because he'd have the sauce on from the early afternoon. He'd have the meat in there marinating, and I'd smell the sauce. And my dad knew that he had to be ready because I would do 2 to 3 plates. And so I didn't get cheated every time. It was tour of Italy night. So yeah, it's that smell, and I miss it. And my dad tells you about my dad. He'll mail down sauces from us, and he'll send it when he comes and visits us. He brings a separate bag. I have all these separate bags of all his sauces packed in, just so we can still have it. And I'm like, now, but that's crazy.
How neat that it's like tied to your heritage and your grandparents and that too. So that's very cool.
Pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I am a big fan of adultitis fighters, and I've got my favorites too, like Walt Disney and Mr. Rogers, and it's exciting to me to see living adultitis fighters who are at the top of their game. And I appreciate all the work that you do to bring fun to the world and inspire people and not take themselves too seriously. Where do you want us to lead people? Like, I know that the waiting list is a mile and a 10 long. Like, where I find your yellow tux. That's where they can find out more about you and your books. I know that. Like, what's the best place for people to hang out with you guys?
Oh, geez. Well, we're easy. The Bananas, we're posting all the time. I spend most of my time on LinkedIn. I share the stories of things I'm learning, things we're doing. But yeah, I think more on what you guys are doing and the impact. Instead of going to search me, just go out and have some fun. Go out and do something out in nature. Go out and do something with your kids. Play a game. Get down on the floor with them. Just get your hands dirty on fun. And that's what I would advise.
I love that.
Good advice.
All right. Well, Jesse, thank you so much for taking the time with us. Best wishes to you with Banana Ball. Keep doing good things. And you keep fighting adultitis. We really appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for what you're doing.
Bye-bye.
See ya.